Konnichiwa. Welcome at the Innovation Bridge, Warsaw-Tokyo. I'm really glad that you are here with us today. Today we will say something about city ecosystem, business ecosystem, and startup ecosystem in both cities. So you will have a chance to get to know about Tokyo and about Warsaw, about innovation ecosystems. With me is, my name is Eva Geresh. I'm representing Venture Cafe Warsaw, and I have with me Lisa from Venture Cafe Tokyo. Because Venture Cafe is a global organization, we have 11 locations, so that's why it's easier to build some innovation bridges, especially now during pandemic, when we can connect globally online. So we are going to start from the presentations about city ecosystem, business ecosystem, and startup ecosystem. I will also share the link in the chat where you can see whole agenda for today. Afterwards, we will have startup pitch session and 2 more interesting sessions. We will tell you about later on. So, Lisa, would you like to add something to our participants?
Yeah, thank you very much for joining to the Innovation Bridge Warsaw and Tokyo. And then I'm super excited for this connection happening today. So hope you can enjoy the session, learn from each other, and also we focus on the connection today. So it would be great if you can networking with a lot of people and then expand your network.
Yeah, I will just briefly tell that on the right you have chat where you can share your comments and also Q&A section. After the presentations, you will have a chance to talk with all the speakers at the tables and to ask additional questions, because we would like to keep the presentations short and just afterwards move to the networking and dive deeper to the conversations. So and that's the plan. For all of you who are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, I highly encourage you to join here because here is much more interactive. You can ask some questions and also then join a networking session. So I think it's worth of it. And I would like to invite to the stage our first speaker, Ewelina Tomczyk-Malec from City of Warsaw. And Ewelina will share information about city ecosystem in Warsaw.
Great to be here as usual. I will share my presentation, but please let me know vocally if you can hear me and if you can see everything okay, because sometimes it just kind of doesn't work. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and
right here.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Okay, just please, Eva, let me know. Can everything be seen or not?
No, not yet.
No. Okay, hold on then. Yeah, I always have some kind of issue over here. Okay. Okay, got it. And now, please let me know.
That's perfect. Okay, stage is
perfect. So thank you so much for the stage. Hello, everybody. My name is Ewelina Tomczyk-Malec, and I am a representative of the city of Warsaw. I'm working for the Economic Development Department within the city, and our unit is specifically responsible for investor relations with the new investors thinking about relocating to Warsaw, and as well as the investors that are already on the Warsaw market. So we work on different projects, CSR projects, educational projects, and of course we are always open to help anyone in need in those aspects. So talking about Warsaw, I think it is essential to point out a few very important facts about Poland itself. I suppose some of you have never been to Poland, to Warsaw, so maybe that will give you an idea about the country. We are the largest population across the CE market, with a population of over 38 million inhabitants. We are the only country within the European Union which managed to proceed to go 25 years without recession, and this incredible economical stability is something that Warsaw and Poland is recognized for when it comes to the economy. We have a steady GDP growth. We are the 8th largest economy in the European Union and one of the 25 largest economies worldwide. We are also a very big beneficiary of the EU funding. It was between the years 2014-20, so as you can imagine, a lot of new investments have been made and the country changed incredibly throughout the years. Our economic stability is proven by many solid international ratings, such as Fitch Ratings, Moody's, S&P Global. Those ratings don't vary very much throughout the years, and I think this stability is something that Poland, as well as Warsaw, it's the factor which makes investors consider us a good place to locate their business. But when coming to the specifics, Warsaw, the capital of Poland, it is an agglomeration of almost 3 million citizens, something we are very proud of, and we think that is one of the most important pillars of Warsaw, and why it's such an incredible city is specifically the people, the talent pool. 72% of Warsaw citizens have higher education. And 40% of Warsaw citizens speak English, and this is the second most common language among the citizens in Warsaw. We are also recognized by many international rankings, such as the Financial Times rankings or Emerging Europe. We are considered as a very business-friendly city, as the Polish city of the future, and we have been also recognized in the survey of business-friendly perception. So those rankings show that it is a great place for investors to consider. A little bit about the location of Warsaw. Warsaw is located centrally in Poland. It is very easily accessible by plane, by car, accessible to the major Polish cities, but also foreign cities, because we have a centrally located airport. The airport is located 20 minutes within the city center. It is a very modern and very big airport with almost 200 destinations worldwide, connecting us to all the continents, and taking care of almost 19 million passengers each year. So even if businesses are relocating or searching for new places to open their businesses, it is easy to communicate, to move around the globe. Like I said before, talent pool is something that is very essential from our point of view, and it is one of the main pillars of Warsaw, definitely. And talking about talent, it would be impossible not to mention students and the academic area of Warsaw. Every year, there's over 200,000 students studying on different, big variety of faculties within Warsaw, and every year over 51,000 graduates enter the labor market, which is an incredible amount of new talented people, talent pool coming to companies opening their new areas. And also, Warsaw is chosen by international and foreign students. Almost 30% of all foreign students deciding to move to Warsaw to study, to Poland to study, choose Warsaw. So I think that shows and proves that we have a great offer for young people. Also, almost 93% of students consider it a good place for career development. So they see that different possibilities they have on our market after finishing their studies. We have a wide variety of academic centers, over 60 universities, the majority of which are private universities, but also public universities. The variety of faculties is endless, some of which are mentioned on my right-hand side, such as business and administration, technical engineering, information and communication technologies, languages. Those are just a few of the many possibilities you can choose from. Also, like I mentioned before, a lot of citizens speak English. 94% of students in Warsaw speak English. Of course, that is the most common language, but students tend to speak also a third language apart from Polish and English, usually, which is you can choose from German, French, Spanish, or Italian, for example. Like I mentioned, the academics, it's one of the biggest academic centers in Poland. So it wouldn't be that all of the universities that we have on our market are recognized by many Polish rankings. The three major public universities, the University of Warsaw, Technology and Economics, have very high are very high on the ranking lists, but also we have a big variety of private universities, like I mentioned before, which are also offering a lot of possibilities for students deciding to study there. The Warsaw market is still seen as a very competitive labor force. Here we tried to compare Warsaw with some other major European cities such as London, Dublin, and Frankfurt. And as you can see, we are still very, very competitive when comparing to those cities. That is why Warsaw is chosen as a destination by investors, and as well as thanks to the great talent pool that we have to offer. A big and important part of our business sector is definitely the shared services sector, but don't be fooled by the name, because we have very advanced processes. We managed to attract them to Warsaw in the area of BPO, IT, R&D, and they are all located in Warsaw. Some of the major players who decided to choose Warsaw because of the many aspects I've mentioned before and will mention afterwards are Citibank, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, major key players on the worldwide market. Also, the shared services sector is very important, takes a very important part and employs a huge amount of people when it comes to Warsaw. It's over 64,000 people. So, as you can see, it is a very interesting and important part of the Warsaw economic system. We also like to attract and help the startup ecosystem in Poland, in Warsaw. The key startup specialties in the Mazovian voivodeship are big data, marketing technologies, as well as fintech. I won't be going into detail when it comes to the startup ecosystem, because I know there will be some other presentations concerning those aspects. So I just wanted to mention this area in our presentation and just show you that it's definitely a part of our Warsaw ecosystem, which is very important to support entrepreneurs. We also have a growing R&D environment. It is an ecosystem employing over 31,000 people in scientific and R&D units. We offer over 900 public and private R&D entities, and a lot of investments are made in the infrastructure and innovation of centers. Some of you are Center of New Technology at the University of Warsaw, CESAMAT, or Center for Preclinical Research and Technology. So investors looking investors interested in that area are also offered a wide range of possibilities. When I was mentioning the main pillars of Warsaw, the second pillar, apart from the talent pool, is definitely our real estate market. As you can see on the chart on this slide, Warsaw has over 52% of all office market share in Poland, which is a huge amount compared to other major Polish cities. We offer over 5.5 million square meters right now to investors and people interested in renting area office space. It is a very fast growing area, definitely. 790,000 square meters of new office space is under construction as we speak. The vacancy rate is very, very small. So there is definitely a big absorption of real estate when it comes to that and office supply, and a big need of that office space for new investments. I think it would be impossible not to mention also co-working. I think in the times we are now living in, COVID-19 definitely showed that this is an interesting area, because many investors tend to change from normal leases to choosing co-working instead. It is definitely a very fast-growing sector. We have a 75% year-on-year growth rate within the last 5 years. Over 45,000 square meters were opened just in the first quarter of 2019, and the total office stock when it comes to co-working is over 120,000 square meters. So the offer is very big. Those are very modern and innovative centers, which attract many new investors as well. I think the third pillar, which we wanted to mention, is definitely the quality of living, and I think that's something that foreigners don't know much about if they haven't visited Warsaw in Poland and they don't know the country. A part of quality of living is definitely a very modern and efficient public transport. We are very proud of the system we have managed to create until now. A lot of investment in transport and infrastructure has been made, with over 2.5 billion euros planned until the year 2025. We have a very wide connection of public transport, metro lines, rapid urban railway lines, tram lines, bus lines, and the majority of our citizens have a very good opinion of the public transport, so it's very easy to get around Warsaw. And this area is also very important because Warsaw would like to be seen also as an eco-friendly city. And as long as the public transport is more efficient and works better and better, less cars will be in the city, and the city will be definitely cleaner. The second part of the communication area would be definitely that we have a wonderful and a very developed Warsaw public bike system. It's called the Petrol. It has over 600,000 users. And Warsaw, seeing the need for this area, has made a lot of investment into new infrastructure concerning with the bikes, as bike lanes, bike docking stations. The urban bike system is the 5th largest in Europe, so and it is considered a very effective way of transport for our citizens. Also, over 83% of residents consider Warsaw a bike-friendly city. So I think that is a big accomplishment and something that the city of Warsaw is very proud of. Apart from, of course, public transport, there's the other areas and aspects of life. 87% of residents have positive opinion about life in Warsaw. I suppose because the offer of the way you can spend your free time after work is also endless. We are a very green city. Over 40% of Warsaw is green areas with a lot of city parks. We have a river going through the city with a wild bank side, so it's which is not constructed, and it has wild beaches, public beaches open to everyone. And the other hand side of the river is more arranged. You can see it on the picture on the right hand side. It is a wonderful place to spend your time with cafes and a lot of cultural events happening over there. But I think something that is also very worth mentioning is that we are a very safe city. Warsaw is the safest city in Poland. But when you talk about Europe, we are on the 7th place and 8th when it comes to worldwide. So I think that is also an important factor when people are deciding to move their families and move for work or studying to a different city. So I think those are some major factors that can make you make this big decision and step. As I mentioned before, the cultural and the leisure offer is endless. We have a big variety of museums, galleries, cinemas, theaters, operas, public beaches. You know, you name it and you can choose from it, actually. So, I mean, all those aspects make it, you know, a really incredible place to live, you know, to develop your career, to study, to raise a family in it. And I think that's why those are the reasons that make Warsaw such a great place. And I highly, you know, I invite you to come and see Warsaw, visit Warsaw, and see for yourself all the wonderful aspects that we have to offer. And if you have any questions, of course, I am here for you, and please feel free to contact me. And I would love to tell you something more or maybe help you out with any problems you have. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and yeah, well, join us in Warsaw. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eva. It's great to hear about the city of the Warsaw ecosystem of the innovation and also support for the other companies in the startup. Thank you very much. So next, we would like to invite Kaoru-san from Jetro, but just want to make sure for all the speakers, the time is for 10 minutes each, and then we would like to have a time for the networking. So it would be great if you can keep the time in mind. So Eva, can you bring Kaoru-san on the stage? So Jetro is a Japanese. Oh yeah, Kaoru-san. Yeah, I'll take you over from here.
Okay, so hello everyone. I am Kaoru Fukaya from Jetro HQ. Let me share my slides. So it takes time. Okay, let me try it again if it doesn't appear on the screen.
Yeah, I'll let you know when the screen comes up.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still waiting the screen. Yeah.
Okay, can you see my slides now?
Yeah, now we can see your slide.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to introduce how Jetro supports innovation in Japan and in Poland. I am Kaoru Fukaya from Jetro Invest Japan Business Support Center, abbreviated as IBSC, and I'm based in Tokyo. At Jetro IBSC, we support foreign companies which want to expand to the Japanese market and eventually set up an office in Japan. I worked in Jetro Warsaw in 2018 and 2019, mainly providing the information of Poland to the Japanese large corporations and organizing some events for Polish companies and Japanese companies. So personally, I am very much motivated to support Polish companies which want to expand to the Japanese market. And it is my pleasure to be able to join the event tonight. So what is Jetro? We are a government-related organization that works to promote mutual trade and investment between Japan and the rest of the world. We are a public organization, and we are a Japanese counterpart of the Polish organization PAIF, who is going to give the presentation next to me. We have 76 offices overseas, including the one in Warsaw, which is very near to the central station. And we have 48 domestic offices across Japan, which means we have at least one office in every prefecture of Japan. One of our missions is facilitating innovations, bringing new and innovative products, services, and technology to Japan, and increasing the productivity of Japan. Under this mission, we promote foreign direct investment into Japan. So we support foreign companies to expand to the Japanese market and eventually establish an entity in Japan. We call this project Invest Japan Project. We started this Invest Japan project in 2003, and since then, over about 20 years, we have supported 21,000 projects. And out of them, over 2,000 companies actually established their Japanese offices through our services. Okay, so let me introduce one of our Polish clients, Komach, which is leading Polish IT business solution provider. They established a Japanese entity in 2017, and JETRO provided them a temporary office in Tokyo and introduced service providers at that time. So what we offer to foreign companies, we offer facilities, information, and networking. And as I said, because we are a public organization, our service is basically free of charge for foreign companies. So as for facilities, we have temporary offices, which you can use up to 50 business days free of charge. You do not have to use 50 business days all at once. You can separately use them on a business trip basis. We have this facility not only in Tokyo, but also in other 5 major cities across Japan. We also have a hall, which you can use once for free, and conference rooms, which you can use multiple times free of charge. And we provide information upon your needs and requests. We can set up a consultation meeting with an expert on incorporation, visa, taxation, and labor issues. And we can set up a meeting with an expert from the industry in the field of artificial intelligence, life science, automotive, semiconductor, and so on. And we can create a tailor-made report in cooperation with a research company. It can be a list of potential partners or an overview of a particular market. And we can provide information about incentives offered by the national and local government for foreign companies. And we can introduce key players in Japan upon your request. We can set up a business matching for the purpose of collaboration and open innovation with the Japanese companies and universities. As a public organization, we are not allowed to set up a meeting for the purpose of direct sales. But if the meeting is for the purpose of collaboration and open innovation, we are able to reach out to the Japanese companies and ask them if they are interested in you. And we can connect you with the central and local governments so that you can discuss what kind of incentives they offer for foreign companies and request for regulatory reforms if necessary. We can also introduce service providers which have experiences in working with foreign companies, such as administrative scriveners, HR agents, and real estate agencies. And in addition to these services, we are working to improve the business environment for foreign companies investing in Japan. So if you are our client, you have the right to apply for a business manager visa even when you are based in a co-working space. Some conditions need to apply, but this is exclusively for our clients. And before, it was not possible for foreign companies which are based in co-working space and not having a dedicated room space for themselves to apply for business manager visa. So in order to become our client, please contact your nearest JETRO office in Poland or myself at JETRO HQ and let us know your plan for expanding your business to Japan. And your application for services will undergo a screening process by JETRO. And once the application successfully passed the screening, we start working together. So now let me briefly introduce the current situation about Tokyo. As you may know, Tokyo was listed the 15th best startup ecosystem this year in the Global Startup Ecosystem Report. This is slightly above Singapore among other Asian cities. And JETRO is trying to bring more innovation by supporting foreign companies to expand to the Japanese market and enhancing collaboration between Japanese and foreign companies. And lastly, please let me touch upon some recent investment trends seen from our foreign clients. Since COVID-19 broke out, more and more foreign companies in the field of telemedicine, telework, and online education, and acceleration of digitalization at manufacturing sites are interested in the Japanese market and getting our clients. Because digital transformation is inevitable in Japan, we expect more and more foreign companies from these fields to come to the Japanese market and bring more innovation. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. If you'd like to use our services, please contact me or my colleague in Poland, or maybe we can discuss later at the networking session. So thank you very much for your attention. Dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you very much, Kaoru-san. That was a great presentation.
Thank you so much, Kaoru-san. Arigato.
Wonderful. ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all the information about city ecosystem. Now we are moving to the business ecosystem. And before we will invite Polish Investment and Trade Agency, we would like to invite to the stage Piotr Suszycki, who is a chairman at Polish-Japanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I will invite Piotr to the stage. He will just briefly introduce the connection that Poland and Japan is building, because I don't know if all of you know that last year we had 100th anniversary of the cooperation between Poland and Japan. So it was a good year to celebrate. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes? So can I go? Okay, hello everybody. 皆さんこんにちは。Dzień dobry Państwu. It is a great pleasure to be here with you at the Venture Cafe Thursday gathering, Innovation Bridge, Warsaw, Tokyo. Many thanks to the organizers of this event for inviting me to make a short greeting to you. My name is Piotr Suszycki. I'm chairman of the Polish Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Japan. Peter Suszycki to moshimasu. Zainichi porando shokukai gisho no daihyo de gozaimasu. I will continue in English from now on. For the past 14 years of our activity, we have been facilitating various business relations between Poland and Japan. Innovation, of course, is one of those fields we are very much interested in. Obviously, for more and more Polish companies are interested in the vast market, like the one in Japan. However, it proves to be quite challenging to enter this market. So here is a role for such an organization like ours to help, and we are very happy to assist you when possible. I'm looking forward to new opportunities through this event. Again, thanks a lot to Venture Cafe, especially to Ms. Eva Geresh. And just one note, when Ewelina-san talked about Warsaw, when I'm in Poland, I normally stay in Warsaw, and I can all agree that this Warsaw is a great place to be. On behalf of our chamber, I would like to wish all the participants constructive and successful business discussions following this event. Thank you very much for your attention. Goseicho, arigatou gozaimashita. Dziękuję bardzo za uwagę.
Arigato. Thank you so much, Piotr-san. Now I would like to introduce to the stage Agnieszka Kaszpera. Agnieszka will share the information about doing business in Poland. Agnieszka represents Polish Investment and Trade Agency. And we also have with us Ewa Małocha. Ewa represents Polish Investment and Trade Agency, and she's the head of office in Tokyo. So stage is yours.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, Warsaw, Poland, konnichiwa, Japan, Tokyo. It's my great pleasure, our great pleasure to be part of this connection. Let me share my screen. We have a joint presentation with Ewa Małocha. Okay, let's start. Okay, do you see my presentation? Yes? Okay. Myself and Ewa Małocha, we represent Polish Investment and Trade Agency, which is like a JETRO, the Polish equivalent in Poland. We are the main government trade investment promotion agency that helps Polish companies and also foreign companies interested in Poland. For many, many years, more than 25 years, we have been assisting foreign companies that are interested in the Polish market. We have very long history of assisting our portfolio, and always since the very beginning, Japanese investors were very important investors to us. They started to come to Polish market long ago. They keep coming, and at this moment we have 15 Japanese projects in our portfolio. The total portfolio of projects that we now deal with is 185 projects, but the Japanese is always on the top, is one of the most important markets for us. After American investors, Polish, and what is interesting nowadays, Belarus came to play. But this Belarusian investors is a very recent thing, because we have an active program campaign for Belarusian investors who relocate themselves to Poland due to political situation in Belarus. But if I had this presentation 2 months ago, Japan would be even higher in the rank of our most important investors. What are the sectors that the Japanese investors like to operate in Poland? It seems like the electromobility is the most popular presently, followed by automotive and BSS, IT, as well as food. But actually, we have a vast range of sectors represented by Japanese businesses in Poland. The total value of the investments is 452 million euro. And the declared number of jobs is 1,700. This map shows you some examples of the clients that we are assisting in Poland. What is interesting is that in the past, manufacturing was like the major interest among investors. Nowadays, we see the new trend, more and more BSS, business service sector, and more R&D, IT clients come to Poland. They recognize the potential, they recognize the main advantages that Poland offers. As Ewelina said, we have a very big market. Poland is the biggest economy in Central Eastern Europe. But what is unique and what is actually interesting for especially Asian who like to compare Poland to Czech or Hungary is that we are much bigger. You know, comparing us to Czech market or to Hungarian, to us seems quite irrelevant if you take into account how much bigger we are, that we are as big as Hungary, Czech, and Romania combined. This line shows you the growth of our economy and a very strong foundation. This has been one of the key factors why we attracted so many investors to Poland since early 90s. We actually never, as Ewelina said, we never had, until last year, of course, we never had any major recession in Poland, even in 2008, when the whole of Europe was in a very deep crisis. This information that I'm presenting now shows you one of the biggest strengths of Poland and the biggest advantages that we have for the whole world is the talent pool of IT specialists, of programmers. Poland has been recognized as one of the best countries with the best programmers in the world. In the hacker rank, we are third after China and Russia, but in many programming languages, we are even higher than, we are first in Java, second in algorithms. We estimate that in Central Eastern Europe, the total number of IT specialists is about 1 million, but 400,000 of them is placed in Poland. So this is very huge pool of talents. And this is, I would say, number one factor that attract high-tech investments into our market. Our programmers are well known not only for the size and the high ranking, but they are also they are highly regarded for very particular, very useful skills. Like this ranking shows you how persistent developers in the world are, and Poland again is at the top. We are well known for being very innovative programmers that not only do the job, but they also can figure out how to make things much better, how to develop better, and they are very ambitious. They like doing ambitious projects. Higher education is another strength of Poland. We have very good education system, and we have well spread educational facilities network, which means that not only in Warsaw there are good universities, but also in other major cities. Actually, when foreign companies come to Poland, wherever they go, they can have access to good university, to strong talent pool. I would like to emphasize that among the universities that we have in Warsaw, and they are very much appreciated by investors, is Polish-Japan Academy of Computer Science. And that is very popular among investors. The graduates are very popular and very highly regarded by businesses who come to Poland. If you had come to Poland 10 years ago, you could see hardly any R&D centers. While now, actually, we have so many of them that it's very difficult to even mark them all on the map. This is also the result of the fact that we have very big pool of talented people. We have a lot of funding at the moment for R&D, and we have many incentives for this type of projects in Poland. Big players, many of them, they already are in the market. They actually reinvest. They invest in new projects in cooperation with startups as well. And they set up R&D centers. Some of the R&D centers are shown on this slide. You will see that we have IBM, Nokia, Intel, Motorola, Samsung. They all do R&D and innovation in Poland. Google, you know very well, they are also in Poland, but what is unique about Warsaw is that from Warsaw, Google for Startups actually manages the whole global network of campuses, including Tokyo. This is very typical that in Poland, in Warsaw, we have corporations who like to actually set up some global services or manage the services that actually cover some parts of the world. We have also a very strong presence of Microsoft. Microsoft is doing their own projects for startups, but last year they also set up Microsoft Technology Center in Warsaw, which is the first in Central Eastern region. And in that center, they are promoting a lot of innovative Polish AI companies. Google and Microsoft, these two giants, they announce further investments in Poland. They will be investing $3 billion in the cloud development and also data center. So these are huge investments, strategic ones for the IT sector. And we really appreciate that such players, they enjoy investing in Poland. Finally, I would like to only mention that if you do innovation, if you do R&D in Poland, you will find many incentives, and also we have some grants and tax reliefs for new projects. So actually everything depends on the particular location. And if you are R&D company, you can enjoy special tax cuts and also special tax rate called Innovation Box 5%. Now I would like to hand over to Eva. Eva will present you what she is doing in Tokyo.
Thank you.
Eva, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Agnieszka. Domo, hajimemashite. Welcome to Tokyo, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Meguro district where Tokyo Foreign Trade Office is located. My name is Eva Małocha, and I'm very happy to manage our Tokyo office. We are here in Tokyo for you, Japanese investors, Polish technological companies, and Polish exporters. Every working day, but especially now during COVID-19 pandemic times, we are your eyes and we are your hands acting locally, meeting directly with Japanese partners, reaching for needed information and promoting. Let me share with you briefly what, where, and how we do it. So first, we cordially welcome any Japanese investor considering the idea of setting up new investment project in Poland. We provide complete and tailor-made macroeconomic and sector information based on the particular investment project. We advise on available financial public aid. We offer location consulting and proposal of investment plot. We support in organization of site visits and meetings with public official. We serve as one-stop shop for all the arrangement. Poland is undoubtedly an attractive market for Japanese businesses, and Poland needs a new high-tech investment, especially after pandemic is over, to quickly return to the path of fast GDP growth. So, any Japanese company considering expansion to Eastern Europe, please knock our doors. We will open them widely and support you. And our second pillar is export promotion from Poland to Japan. Currently, Japanese consumers can buy and enjoy Polish snacks, superfoods, sweets, cosmetic. They can prepare Polish chicken meat and beef. They can buy premium food for their pets. For leisure, they can play Polish video games. And for winter, we recommend beddings made of Polish goose down. What we do for Polish companies intending to start new export is providing sector information, feedback on current demand, market niche, export chances. We search for importing company, then arrange B2B matching and meetings. We support on import and regulatory procedures. When exporters visit Tokyo, we offer our office space for conducting the meetings and simply working here. Together with Polish Embassy, we organize seminars and sessions. We facilitate your activities here. So, if your product is a unique and high quality one, has some added value, please don't hesitate. We will support its market entry to this ultra competitive Japan consumer market. And let me mention our third pillar, which is of really top importance for us, which is Polish technological innovators and IT startups companies. Japan is a technological kingdom, heaven, with 5G technology on almost every corner. So you should be here. There are corporations looking for unique technologies to implement them to their value chain. There are accelerating programs. There are sector organizations open to consider newcomer ideas. We strongly promote Polish IT sector here, including fintech, gaming, ICT companies. And we do business matching, introduction of startup technology providers to venture companies, IT accelerators, and potential investor. Please consider Japan as soon as your project is commercialized, competitive, unique, and successful on other markets. We are here to help you. And our great partner and supporter is Polish Embassy in Tokyo, who also prioritizes IT sector for the upcoming time. We also have Mr. Wojciech here, who will also give some introduction about embassy activities. So we are here to help you. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you someday in Tokyo, I hope.
Thank you so much for all the information. I would like to invite to the stage Wojciech. Please switch on your mic and camera, and you should be here with us. Okay, just let. Yeah, it takes time to go all the way from Poland to Japan. That's why we need to just wait a few seconds. Okay, maybe there are some technical issues, so I suggest to go smoothly to another presentation, and after that we will invite Wojciech again. He will share some information about supporting of IT sector. So that would be really interesting. So thank you for the presentation one more time. And Lisa, please invite another speaker from Japan, and we will move to the startup ecosystem.
Yes, so I would like to invite Hodaka-san from Ancasta. So he is a director of Japan entry, and then Ancasta supports company and also the startups to come into the Japanese market. So Japanese market is, as you know, pretty different market to compare to the other countries. So we can support those differences, cultural differences, for those kind of things, for get them to easier land into the Japanese market. Eva, would be great if you can invite Hodaka-san onto the stage.
Yeah, Hodaka-san is invited.
Great. Hodaka-san, can you turn on your camera and then the microphone so you can come up on the stage?
And in the meantime, I will briefly tell what is ahead of us. After those presentations, we will move to the networking, so we will have a chance to ask more questions and go deeper into some topics. And also afterwards, we will have startup pitch session when you will see some startups from Japan and from Poland, and they will share some information about themselves. Afterwards, you will also have a chance to talk with them further at the tables. Then we will have also a CIC tour in Tokyo and in Warsaw. We will show you the cultures behind the architecture, and also a startup guide. We have with us Dane, who represents Startup Guide, and Startup Guide is international organizations doing preparing and researching some information about ecosystems all over the world. And recently, Diana, correct me if I'm wrong, you launched a Startup Guide Japan, right? And now we are working also on Warsaw. So you will also have a chance to hear more about the project during the fireside chat.
Absolutely, yes. So allow me to shortly introduce myself then. Thank you very much, Lisa and Ewa, to give us a chance to introduce us here on this platform. And as you said, it's really excited for us to be at this event as well, because we only just last week launched our first ever Japan Startup Guide, which was impact focused, and we're really excited about that. In that book, we featured in total of 5 cities, and we actually worked together with our partner back in Tokyo with Venture Cafe, who supported us in launching the event. So that was really, really exciting. And at this moment, we are working on realizing the Startup Guide Warsaw. So it's been really interesting for me to already hear all the stories that all your colleagues have told us here before, to learn more about the local ecosystem in Warsaw as well. Yeah, and so we really hope that we can make this Startup Guide Warsaw happening. So I would like to invite everyone to join the fireside chat, and then you can learn more about our project. So basically, the books we make are always more or less, we call it a lonely planet for entrepreneurs. So we want to represent the local ecosystems together with the local partners. So we make this book not by ourselves. We do our research, but we always find local partners to support us in making a well-balanced and a very good representation of the ecosystem. So we hope everyone will join the fireside chat, so you can ask us some questions, and then my colleague Anna will tell you all about our project. So thank you so much for allowing me to introduce it, and I hope to see everyone later on at the fireside chat.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And now I can see that we have all of our speakers. So maybe we will just briefly finish the business sections with Wojciech. If you can share some information about supporting IT industry, and then we will go smoothly to startup ecosystem, and we will invite Hodaka-san for sharing some information about startup ecosystem in Japan. Okay, Wojciech, stage is yours.
Hello. I hope this time you hear me well. Yeah, I hope you hear me now. I had some technical problems. So yeah, it's good to see all of you. My name is Wojciech Wątły. I work at the Embassy of Poland in the economic section, and I would like to briefly explain you what we do for IT industry, for Polish IT industry here in Japan. So let me share my screen. I will show you very short presentation. So first of all, we cooperate with many other organization bodies which aim to promote Polish IT business here in Tokyo. This innovation bridge is one of the example. The other example was it could be a project which we made together with Jetro last year in October. They invited 12 companies from Central and Eastern Europe to Japan to let them participate in Japan IT Week. And the day before the Japan IT Week, we invited all of them to Embassy of Poland. We invited other Japanese IT experts, investors, and we made a networking session. So this is one kind of initiatives we do. We are also a good source of knowledge about Japanese law, Japanese regulation. So if any company from Poland would like to get to know more details about Japanese business environment, I recommend to visit the Polish Embassy website. Here we have something which we call information about business environment, and I can highly recommend to check this information. And we finally, last but not least, we also organize our own events. The great example is what we are going to do this month, November 24. We are going to organize a cybersecurity seminar as a leader of V4 Group. V4 Group is a group of Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. And each of these countries will delegate 2 companies. They will shortly brief themselves. And what we do as an embassy, we just send invitation to our partners. We have very good relation with Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Trade and Industry, as well as Japanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So the invitation which we send can reach sometimes even 20, 30,000 of recipients. So this is a very high number, I think, and none of these companies could reach such a big audience by themselves. If you would like to know more, I will be available. I will be available at the table. I'm open for discussion, questions, so you are welcome. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Wojciech. Now I would like to invite Hodaka-san to the stage. And we are moving to startup ecosystem. After startup ecosystem, we will start networking, and then it will be startup session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Dzień dobry, everybody. Konnichiwa, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. I'm Hodaka from Anchorstar from Tokyo. And let me share my screen. Great. So again, it's a pleasure to meet you, everybody. I'm Hodaka, and I am the director of Japan Entry. So a little bit of about my background. I was born in Japan, immediately moved to the US after that, and lived for about 10 years, came back to Japan, and ever since, my passion has been bridging Japan and the rest of the world. My first occupation had nothing to do with business. I was a pilot trainee for an airline called ANA. After that, I moved on to business consulting at BCG in Tokyo. I spent about 5 years working on cross-border projects, both bringing international companies into Japan and helping Japanese companies understand the foreign markets. I moved on to supporting startups, which I do really enjoy now at Anchorstar. I do enjoy traveling, and it's an honor to be in this event because I really enjoyed being in Warsaw last year. And this was one of my favorite spots, actually, not because it's right near the Chopin Museum, but because when I went there and I was asking a question about Chopin, the staff at the museum was asking me, like, why don't you invest in Poland? And you have to buy a house here because our country is growing like by 5 or 6% every year. And I never got an answer about the question I wanted to know about, but it was really fascinated me that everybody's excited about the growth, and I really felt that in the city. So a little bit about our company. Anchorstar's mission is to inspire and bring change to people through creative ideas and innovation. We have a very diverse and globally minded team, and we all really want to bring new ideas and facilitate change. We really focus on supporting communication and collaboration, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Where we are, we're actually in Tokyo, center of Tokyo, actually right next to where CIC is. In this photo, unfortunately, the Venture Cafe building is not there yet, but we started as a small co-work 5 years ago. Now that there's CIC, we have to pivot our business model and become more focused on supporting the community. So we have been very lucky to support many best-in-class companies. So for example, we are leading the Kickstarter team in Japan. We are also supporting Pipedrive's Japan expansion. And I'll give you a few more examples. So here are two examples that I would like to talk about that we have done in the past year. So one is called Via. Via is a mobility company, one of the largest now in the world. When they came to Japan, they were faced with a lot of regulations. As you might know, Japan is a very hierarchical country. And so if you come in the wrong way, you can easily be pushed out. In order to do that, we have had them partner with Mori Building, which is one of the biggest real estate companies in Tokyo. And what Mori did is they have vast connections with the government. They know all of the people very well. They are trusted by the Japanese. And then if they helped Via come to Japan through them, which really boosted their trust and network. We also are doing a very similar partnership with Kickstarter. So crowdfunding in Japan is very big, fortunately. It's been growing like wild amid this year. But we really wanted to focus on the creative side of Kickstarter. So we partnered with them with Kodansha. Kodansha is one of the leading publishers in Japan, which heavily focuses on creativity. And because they share a lot in common, we thought that they would be able to hold hands together and come to Japan. What we really like is the fact that these are both cross-industry partnerships. Of course, for fintech companies, banks are very attractive. They have the network, they have the customers, and it's a good way to partner. But it could also go the wrong way when they know too much about your business, because they will might see you as a vendor in the worst case, which may not end in a happy way. And these are some of the examples that we have worked on. These are the CEOs of Kodansha and Kickstarter. So let me tell you a little bit about Japan. Because there's sometimes we do get a lot of questions. For example, so Poland obviously is in the center of Europe. Japan is in the far east of Asia. And one fact is that no, we are not anywhere close to Singapore. Singapore is way far from us. So many people ask us, do you speak English? Unfortunately, not many of us do. The distance between Japan and Singapore is almost close to between Warsaw and Mumbai. That's how far we are. And another question we are asked sometimes is, do you understand Koreans? Not really. These words all mean beer. So the left is in Chinese, the middle one is in Korean, and the right is in Japanese. We have a few ways to express beer. But it's very different, so we do not speak the same languages. Actually, out of all of the countries that I've traveled to, I've had the most difficulty to get around in a taxi in China. That's how different we are. Some stats. So 520, 6%, 54. So what does these mean? So 520. So only 5 new companies have actually made it to the top 20. So if you take the 20 most valued companies in Japan, and Toyota is one of the biggest in Japan and also in the world, but if you take the top 20 and compare it with the last in 2000 and 2020, only 5 have really changed versus 16 has in the US. We are a very stable and secure economy, which is a good thing in some ways, because that's how we have thrived for almost 2,000 years. But it's sometimes very tough for innovation. 6%. So only 6% of the Japanese working population actually change their job every year. This is roughly 3 million people. Only 3 million people out of the 100 million switch their jobs. An average business person would transition perhaps a couple of times, or maybe 2 or 3, versus the extreme opposite is, I guess, the US, which is 15. So job security in Japan is very, again, stable. And for example, I would say that 60% to 70% of my friends would stay in the same company that they entered right after graduation. So 54. Unfortunately, we do not speak English that well. Education first, English proficiency test, we ranked 54th, which is right under Pakistan. And Poland, obviously everybody's is so bilingual that they learn a third language. So you're number 11, but you might have a difficulty in Japan. So this is an interesting chart that I found. This is Erin Meyer's the country mapping tool, and I mapped Poland, the US, and Japan against 7 different disciplines. So how you see this chart is basically how we communicate. So for example, the top one, I'm sorry that it's a little bit hidden, but Japan is a very high context culture, which means that if I say, for example, 5 words, I would expect a Japanese person to understand like 50 of what I wanted to say. Where in the US, they're saying that what you don't say, you have to say it. Where in Poland, you're in between. That's how you see this chart. And then maybe you can see that Poland, the yellow line is very different from the red line, which is Japan. And perhaps I can pick 3 points. So first of all, let's see the second line. So the second line is evaluation. So Poland is on the left, Japan is on the right. And this is, again, very general. So this can change in some circumstances. But in Japan, so for example, we give very indirect negative feedback. So for example, if I were to say if I wanted to say to my friend that his clothes doesn't really match him, I could not say that. I would say that, well, your clothes, you look great today, but did you change anything? And I think Japanese people kind of get it because that doesn't we change it with the tone. But in Poland, you might, according to this chart, perhaps you might say that that doesn't look good on you. Another one is decision making. So I see that in Poland you are very top down, which is great. In Japan, we are very consensual, which means that nobody can really decide by their own. You need to decide for example, if you go out to dinner, what really happens a lot is that people will just say that, like, what would you like for your first drink? And then one guy says beer, and the second guy says beer, and then the last one is okay, beer also. So it's very consensual, and this can affect your communication in Japan. The third point would be how we disagree with people. So in Japan, we try to avoid confrontation a lot, which means that if we bump into a situation where we have to tell some critical stuff, some people just might want to avoid that. So you might not get meetings, you might not get replies in your emails. That happens a lot. Where in Poland, perhaps according to this chart, you're very direct. So you might have difficulties again there. But this is very general, but I like this chart because it does show the differences between the US and Japan very accurately. So this is one thing to keep in your mind. So one great example, thank you for the great meeting. We will consider the options internally. This is a typical Japanese response after you're at the end of the meeting. This actually could say both ways, but in general, this is a very negative. So this actually means sometimes no in Japan. And then, there's circumstances where you might wonder, like, why there's so many people in the meeting and no one really speaks up. This is kind of a mix of consensual, like, decision making and also top down. So, but there's many occasions where like 10 people would join from the Japanese side, and then only the management people will talk. Nobody else speaks up, and then it's like silence, dead silence. But you don't have to worry about that because that's very normal. So I wanted to, that's basically what I wanted to share. There are a lot of cultural differences, so that's why we are here. We do specialize in supporting your communication and how you collaborate. One thing you might want to keep in mind as well is that it does take a little bit of time. I know this is very harsh for startups because time is basically your money. But if you want to enter Japan, basically you would need a lot of commitment and use also perseverance. And because the Japanese will be basically very, very slow. Sometimes they're very quick, but usually we are very slow in decision making. And that's just a mix of how we are organized, how we culturally are set. So it's nothing to worry, but just that's one thing to keep in mind when you want to come to Japan. So thank you very much. I hope this gives you a little tips when you think about coming to Japan, and look forward to talking with you in the chat after this.
Thank you so much, Hodaka-san. It was super interesting, especially those cultural differences. I think it's really useful when some of you consider doing business in Japan or doing business in Poland or in other countries. I know from my experience that it is super useful to just find out more about the culture and about business etiquette in some countries, because it really helps.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you so much. And
yeah.
Well, I would like to invite Maciek Sadowski to the stage. Maciek represents Startup Hub Poland, and Maciek will share some information about Polish startup ecosystem.
Touch the base with you, whether you can hear me well, and if you see if you can see at least part of my face, because I know I am in quite dark place, dark position. Can you hear me and can you see me?
We can hear you, we can see you, and it's great that you are bringing to us some nature.
Yes, thank you. In my team in Startup Hub Poland already we had the first case of COVID, so we dispatched for some short quarantine just to keep safe our partners and our families. So today I can introduce you beautiful landscape, forest landscape of Central Eastern Europe, the beginning of autumn. You cannot see those leaves, but they have all colors of red and yellow, and they look particularly nice. So thank you very much, Eva, for having me. Thank you very much, Kokeguchi Hokada, for the introduction about Japanese landscape. I need to say that it was particularly brilliant because of your magical stats. I would never thought about Japan in relation to Poland and to US and to Singapore in such a perspective. So thank you very much for showing that. I hope I will make a good job for you introducing also our friends from Japan, how Polish ecosystem, startup ecosystem look like. First of all, I want to try to say hello in Japanese. It would be Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. I believe. I tried some day to study Japanese. It was very difficult for me. My teacher was talking mainly about fish and post office, and I haven't learned a lot. But I studied a little bit the Meiji Revolution in 19th century, and I know that this is how the beginning of modernization of Japan started. And today you are the leading force in economy and in innovation. So I am happy that Poland can also join the club. and maybe forge some great technological and business alliances with you. So first of all, I would like to try to share my screen with you, and it will take me a second since I need to recall how do I do that. It's simple, and I know. Share screen, and then application window, and here you have my slideshow. All right, and a fast question to you, Eva, can you see, or Lisa, can you see the presentation as well? Not only myself, but the presentation.
No, we cannot see it now, so please share it one more time.
All right, certainly. Are you certain? All right, share screen. And here we go. That should be this. Already, can you see it?
Okay.
Yes.
Now it works.
All right, perfect, perfect. So, dear friends, I represent Startup Hub Poland, a organization that is 9 years young. So we are, I believe, in the third grade of primary school. We started in 2012 with one mission, one single mission. We wanted to make our Polish venture capital and startup landscape a little bit more colorful, a little bit more diverse, and invite people from all over the world to join this ecosystem to benefit from chances that emerge right now in Poland for several years, and it will continue, and to help our wealthy individuals to invest not only in, let's say, real estate and art, but also and on stock exchange, but also in startups. We already see great examples of startups in this region. I will show you this in my next slides, and this is a good argument for international investors to understand that Poland is already on the radar, is already on the map. In Startup Hub Poland, we do care for one particular thing, which is to highlight that Poland is not a single country alone, but it is surrounded by great countries that together composes a Central Eastern European market with a absolutely outstanding talent pool, with a great access to infrastructure and to European markets. So my mission also is not to say, hey, come to Poland because Poland is sexy. My mission rather is to say, come to Poland because Poland is a great spot to make very good deals with all partners from Romania, Estonia, Azerbaijan, Ukraine, Belarus, Czech Republic, Hungary. We want to be just the hotspot for all kind of transactions, all kind of ventures and endeavors. Every year we got plenty applications, more than 2,000 applications a year. From this number, we try to select best projects to participate in leading edge acceleration program in Poland. Some of these programs we run ourselves. Some of programs are run by our friends, like, for example, Venture Cafe and CIC. It's a great spot for startups to just, increase your network and meet people who can invest in your project or who can strike some kind of deals and cooperations with you. And of course, while we are attracting people to Poland from abroad, we never neglect guys from Singapore, Japan, Argentina, Canada, or Great Britain. But mainly, these are people from Central Eastern Europe. And they are coming to Poland, building this strong position of our region. And they help me and help us to spread the word that together as Central Eastern Europe, we have more engineers than Mediterranean area. We have more high-tech universities with institutes of innovative domains than Scandinavia. But actually, nobody recognizes Central Eastern Europe as a nice place. For now, those early adopters or those leaders, those visionaries who want to come here benefit from the fact that valuations of startups in Poland are not particularly high. When I make a benchmark analysis with Germany or Great Britain or France, I see that startups here are underestimated. And it's very good opportunity to take an equity position in startups in order to discover how the valuation will rise up together with startups. And when you see those great examples of Central Eastern Europe, you might definitely remember Skype, because it's our great precious, the pearl in our Central Eastern European crown. But Poland has actually great startups that became scale-ups and then grown-up companies, like CD Projekt Red, developer of such famous game like Cyberpunk 2077 or The Witcher. Allegro is, on the other hand, Polish eBay, we can say, with a very hegemonic position in our market. Grupa Pracuj or Dog Planner, Brainly, these are brands that cheer every investor and every stakeholder who decided to engage with those startups. But also Romania, Slovenia, and Estonia, great ecosystems. Hungary as well, with unicorns already. This vivid and vibrant ecosystem is actually here, and it's happening while we are talking. It also can be reflected by a short summary that I made for you as a contrast, because 7 years ago, in 2013, we already had this ecosystem of venture capital investment launched. Since that moment, we see that Poland and Estonia together, also Lithuania is great, Czech Republic is running very well. We create a huge number and huge value of investment tickets for startups on early stage. In general, if you want to remember one thing from this section of my presentation, you may remember that Poland maybe is not the best place for you to have A round or B round, but it's a fabulous place for a seed round, for early stage investments, around €500,000, €1 million, €1.5 million. Because of the fact that the infrastructure is brand new, that we have plenty of universities that are producing every year new graduate masters, engineers from every field you can possibly imagine. Although I see some specialties where Poland is particularly strong, and I would say it's biotech, of course it's ICT, new materials, chemistry, metallurgy as well. But I know that you have a very strong metallurgical sector in Japan. But honestly, I do not see so many great innovations in metallurgy, though I see innovation in new materials and agri-tech very much. The next thing I want to mention is that Poland has created quite a decent landscape of organizations that support every startup. Maybe not every, but the startup that is willing to receive a support. We have, for example, Polish Agency for Trade, for Investment and Trade, PAIH, Polish PAIH. This is an agency that helps startups to expand abroad, and this is an agency that helps international investors to come to Poland and to try their chances, their muscles in this market. On the other hand, there is something called Narodowe Centrum Badań i Rozwoju. I will encrypt it for you in English. It's National Center for Research and Development. This is an agency that has very rich, very tasty, very fat grants for startups in early stage, up to 20 million zloty, which is approximately 4.4 million euro. Startup can get, and it's an equity-free grant, only for development of your MVP, of your pilot version of the product or a service, or to just increase the novelty of the solution that you've been working for some time. Polish Agency for Enterprise Development, whereas it's an organization that I like particularly a lot, because they support every kind of startups and every kind of small, medium enterprise, if it's innovative and if it can bring the change to the market, local or interlocal or even global. And we have such examples. Agency for Industry Development is an agency that works as a loan provider very often. They have grants, but they also have loans. So you can take a loan and then pay it back in a very comfortable and very cheap conditions. This slide is very important for me, and I want you to stay a little bit more focused on this one, because Polish government has prepared 0.6 billion euro for support for startups. It goes through venture capital funds, it goes through incubators, it goes through accelerators, but in general, it creates a very nice framework for startups to access money when private investors are not ready to invest because they are risk averted, or they are shy, or they are not confident. So this is the money for them. And you can see that most of this money is going for early stage programs. 13 million euro is going for acceleration programs alone. And I like accelerators a lot because they can help in a very fast time, in 3-4 months, to really verify lots of hypotheses, both business and economical. And please take a look at the left button side of my screen. 77% of investments or of financial support goes to ICT sector. It is because in 80s, when we were finishing our era of socialism in Poland, most of guys like me, for example, we have computers and we were coding. We were playing with code, playing with computer games. This is why together we see so great projects and companies in field of gaming and in field of coding engineering. One project that might be super interesting for those of you in Japan who are willing to expand to European Union, for example, through Poland, is Poland Prize. This is an acceleration framework with a very nice visa and soft landing attributes. Startup can come here, get some pocket money, around 12,000 euro, if I'm yes, exactly, 12,000 euro, the presentation says, and spend it for early development, and then get even 62,000, 100,000, of course, 100,000 euro for development of MVP together with a corporation or a venture capital fund. So making it very short for you, it's a visa program with soft landing attributes, with mentoring, and with kind of competition for bigger money. The visa can be cast for 24 months, and it's European Union wide visa, so you can travel very smoothly. And you can also get access to partners like private equity investors, venture capital, maybe most importantly, headquarters of international companies, also Japanese companies, are located in Poland, and they take the scope of all Central Eastern Europe. So, for example, Warsaw is a great place because you can have access to top managers who are decision makers for the whole region. And if you already went through this invitation corridor, you become a Polish entrepreneur. And Polish entrepreneurs can benefit from another great program, which is called Scale Up. This is the name of the program, not the category of companies. Scale Up is the name of the program. In this program, you can get another 50,000 euro just to prepare your technology to be accessible on the market and to reach your clients. All of these frameworks that I mentioned, my friends, are equity free. You do not give up any share, even 1 share, 1% of share of your company. In Poland, there are many of other frameworks that, for example, highlights the necessity of reducing harm and attracting big corporations to think more in a CSR, SDGs terms, social global sustainable development goals and social corporate responsibility. It is important because I see many companies that say, guys, if your startup can do something in terms of impact for social or cultural or environmental fields, we are going to help you by investing, by signing contracts with you. We also cooperate very strongly in the region. Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, these are very strong markets that together with us build this platform for investors and for startups. And for example, in program called V4 Venture Drill, we build library and a catalog of mentoring sessions, and also some tips, tricks, tactics for startups, as well as startups alone. So investors can just take a look which startups are hot in Poland. And last but not least, I need to highlight that maybe in Japan, information about situation in Belarus is not going so often as to Poland, which is a neighboring country to Belarus. But right now, Belarusian engineers suffer a lot from the political turbulences, and they often ask for support from neighboring countries. And here is Poland with Poland Business Harbor. for. This is our way to give a hand, to give back to the ecosystem in Belarus, to help them, resist the storm and find a good harbor, good place to safely develop their companies. We have prepared lots of incentives for them, but most importantly, they can meet here in Poland much more international attention than in Belarus or in Russia. We also work with, the ecosystem, with corporations. Of course, I highlighted one program that I like most of all because I'm engaged partly in it, but it represents a wide scope of frameworks when big corporations like PKN Orlen, the biggest energy company in Central Eastern Europe, are doing with startups. So they are inviting startups, they review the technology, they understand business cases, and they try to forge some corporations and to work together. Having said that, I know I have crossed the time a little bit. Eva will be absolutely angry with me. I'm sorry, Eva. I'm happy that I could deliver at least some information about Poland. To make a summary of it, I want to remind you that Poland is a great place for seed investments, early stage investments. We like very much intellectual property intensive, so technologically intensive projects, rather than marketplaces and platforms, although we have great marketplaces in platforms in Poland, like Dog Planner, Brainly, for example, or Booksy, Audioteka. All of this together makes me believe that together with, for example, Japan, if only COVID allows us to travel more often and more frequently, we can really find some business opportunities. And no matter the fact that I represent NGO and the way for me to earn big fortune is super limited, for you guys, for inventors, it's absolutely possible. And I'm happy to answer all of your questions in couloirs later. Thank you, Eva, and I'm so sorry for making it so long.
Thank you, Maciek. Thanks a lot for all the information. And now just to finish the section about startup ecosystem in Poland, I would like to invite Antoni Rydel, who is a Deputy Director in GovTech Startup Program. And Antoni, thank you, Maciek. Thanks a lot. Yes.
Thank you very much, Eva. Good luck with Antec.
Yeah,
Cheers.
and in the meantime, we started startup pitch session, so you can see the link in the chat. After this presentation, we will have a chance to join networking. So Maciek will be at the table. You can ask more questions, so stay here for networking. If you want to join startup session, link this in the chat. Antoni, stage is yours.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to follow such a distinguished startup champion as Maciek. I hope that my speech will be at least in a small fraction as informative as yours. But to be very brief, I know I am the last person keeping all of you from networking, so I'll try not to exceed the time too much, but there are quite a few things I'd like to say on behalf of GovTech and by an extension also of our government, which is looking very keenly at foreign investment in general, but of course the exchange region are two countries in particular. So let's start with a few words about us. So that you'll know who is hiding under this name and surname. So, Maciek said that the Startup Hub Poland is 9 years young. We, in fact, are 4 times younger. So we're 2 years old. We started officially in 2018, but the mission and the thing that drives us is actually a much older occurrence. So to be very brief, I think that the most important thing is that we think of ourselves as the primary government agency, or a task force to be precise, for everything related to public sector innovation. So just to sort of map it on the ecosystem, you heard Agnieszka and others from PAIH, so they deal with the sort of with investment in general, whereas we as GovTech work with the innovations from the public sector perspective. So both promoting and supporting innovation and absorbing and adopting it into the government. And now, what I will say in this regard is what might also be important is that in order to fulfill our cross-ministerial mission, as you know, we have quite a few ministries and a large population. So in order to fulfill our mission, we are located in the Chancellery of the Prime Minister. So we're sort of an umbrella organization for most other projects which relate to the digital sphere, which range from those which you see on the website. So we're also responsible for this as the GovTech Center, but we're also responsible for digital skills. We're responsible for most of the e-services. We're responsible for most of the, let's say, procedural improvements when it comes to the innovation ecosystem. So this is us. I have the pleasure to be the deputy head of this whole organization. And you know, I wanted to share with you two messages really before we all go to networking. The first message being, if you're looking for a market which in 10 years will be in a much better place than it is right now, and even now it is in a much better place than 10 years ago, then you're probably at the right spot. Just to give you some historical context, 30 years ago, the gap between Poland and Germany in terms of economic growth was of the magnitude of about 15 times. Now it went down to 6. And even during the pandemic, we happen to be one of the economies which, well, I wanted to say fastest growing, but let's just say slowest receding in these crazy times. It's really a rather vibrant ecosystem, and the reason why it's a vibrant ecosystem is because Poland is heavily investing in what you could call businesses of the future, skills of the future, branches of the future, markets of the future. So mostly, of course, it's the digital sector, which has been growing about at a rate of about 8 points. 8% each year, which is a rather quick rate to compare this with some of the other countries. This is about 2 times more than the second fastest growing large digital economy within Europe. The IT sector and the digitization in general is forecasted by McKinsey to bring about 200 billion euro to the Polish GDP by 2025, and actually even their initial forecast from 2018 was exceeded by 2 billion. So you can really say that the growth of especially these sectors, these innovative sectors, is much quicker than even real specialists from the sector would anticipate. Just to compare, I did say that 8 percentage points was a quick growth, but in fact, between January and May 2022, during the pandemic times, this great growth rate has doubled almost. It has reached 14.1%, which means that instead of hitting the brake during the pandemic, we instead decided to accelerate, and we're obviously, as a government, are looking very favorably upon this. I would think it's this is the direction we really should go. We really should be going towards. And now the other part of the reason why we're really keen on promoting the digital ecosystem is that Poland is not just an economic hub within the region, it's also a skills hub within the region. So what you have seen on some of the presentations before is that we have a wide pool of IT talent. One data point which may not have been immediately apparent is that we're actually the second largest producer of IT graduates within the European Union. We used to be the third one, but then the UK left, so we're happy to claim the second place. Obviously, looking forward to being first. But no, the message really you should be getting from this is that there is a very wide pool of talent which is very fast growing. But to be fair, it's not actually growing fast enough because the IT sector continues to have a 10% staff shortages, so it continues to always look for talent. Maciek mentioned the Poland Business Harbor program, and one of the reasons why we're involved in this is because there is a massive demand for this vibrant IT market creates a massive demand for skilled workers, which even despite Poland having this very large pool of specialists, we're still in the need of always in need of great talent. So just to give you a scale of what we're really looking at in terms of the of all those innovative innovative technology sectors. Now the other thing I wanted to highlight in this regard is that we tried to you may have heard about Poland's talent, but on the other hand, the domestic market, the pool, the demand is being has increased by a large proportion in the last few years. In fact, we're for the first time in our modern history, we recorded a positive net migration, which means that there is a large pool of specialists coming back, and this sort of speaks about the condition of the market, which is now able to sustain a very large pool of specialists. So on this scale, the thing I wanted to highlight is that while of course there are more developed markets both in Europe and within the global community as well, but the Polish sector itself, even this, regardless of its placement, you could say a strategic placement between some of Europe's largest and fastest growing economies, but even the Polish internal market itself is presenting you with quite a few opportunities to invest, to promote, and obviously for mutual gain and success. Now, for the second thing I wanted to say is that while the general sector itself is obviously fast expanding, then the government is also very keen on supporting it. Out of those 200 billion I mentioned, 50 billion actually comes from public sector investments, because about 50 billion euro is spent each year by the government on procurement. A permanently increasing share of this goes towards IT or technology in general. So you really should think of us as a country which is very much willing to digitize, open up, and invest in those new digital technologies, especially during the time of the pandemic, which has shown us that there are quite a few sort of opportunities and windows of opportunities where we could build and improve digital services for the benefit of citizens. One project I would like to highlight in this regard is that the Polish government has built quite a few services ranging from digital authentication through to digital procurement platforms and to numerous sort of live event services. And now one thing we're trying to promote is that we noticed that there is most of these services are then re-implemented by the private sector at some point. So more or less every website needs authentication, right? And what we're trying to promote and to make sure that it's permeated within the market is that we're making most of our services available for an API, which means that businesses which want to either open up in Poland or move to Poland or invest in Poland have access to a wide range of services which are pretty much ready-made. So you don't need to worry too much about the fixed cost of integrating with the Polish, be it governmental or non-governmental ecosystem. We're trying to have you covered in this regard. Of course, this is all in addition to some very clear incentives, which my friends from PAIH have already mentioned, and which I really encourage all of you to ask them about, because they're actually quite well built up and very well thought over. And so finally, the one thing I would like to encourage you all to do is to think about opportunities for improvements within the public sector. I mean, the reason we're really here is not just to speak a few fancy words in front of flags, but in order to listen to what are the needs of both the Polish and the Japanese trade and tech sector, and then make sure that this is reflected well in both regulation and tools that the Polish government tries to make available to everyone. So the two colleagues of mine will be present throughout the whole session in the tables. There's Małgorzata and there's Tomek. They're both more than ready to engage with you, talk to you, gather ideas from you, and then we'll do our utmost to make sure that the government is as supportive towards our initiatives as possible. Now, of course, it doesn't always mean that there is a direct purchase, but anything we can do to make sure that the ecosystem is a bit more friendly and a bit more welcoming towards you and a bit more supportive of the innovative technology sector, we'll always try to listen to those suggestions and make sure that they're integrated in the Polish legal ecosystem. And so to sum up, I wanted to reiterate that we're looking very favorably upon occasions and initiatives such as this. I think this is a great forum for exchange of both ideas and inspirations, and finally for perhaps the beginning of some new alliances and partnerships which may then last for a very, very long time. But regardless of how long they last, we want to make sure that you all receive all the support that you need from the public sector side. And with this, I'll leave you to networking. Have a good morning in Poland and have a great evening in Japan. Until next time.
Thank you so much, Antoni. Now I invite all of you to the tables, to the networking. Also, there is a table of GovTech Poland there, so you can ask more questions. And for all of you who would like to join Startup Pitch Session, I'm sharing link in the chat. Is happening now. After Startup Pitch Session, all of the startups will join the tables, and the demo tables are on the second floor. So you can find all of our today's speakers on the first floor at info tables, and all of the startups at second floor at demo tables. Afterwards, we will have 2 sessions. We will be informing you in an announcement and in a chat when they will start. So have a great networking. Thank you one more time for joining us today. And have a great day and afternoon.
The upper left in vehicle, from the sound of the car body, outside the car, inside the car, friction of the engine and brakes, external emergency vehicle, people, and accident collaboration sound. Gotcha. The upper right is livestock. For example, in this case is a pig. It is possible to detect disease from the barking of pig, and it is possible to detect symptoms such as cold and influenza. Actually, we released a commercial version from last month. The lower left is sound security. Sound security means detector glass crashing and female scream, following the sound in bathroom, etc. When is detected, automatically notified to security company. The lowest right sound, this is easy to understand. It is a factory. detect the sound of each device and detect its failure. The next challenge is outdoor advertising effective measurement. This video built. It is a simple video. We are developing the measurement of number of people, number of female, male, and foreign people. It's from the checking from the. This is sound. That's all. Thank you very much. Sorry, poor English. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Koji-san. If you would like to talk with Koji, please come to the networking remote. So he's on the second floor of his home table. Thank you very much. So
Thank you. See you.
Thank you. P Innovation, Nobuyoshi Toba. That'd be great if you could turn on your camera and then the microphone and come onto the stage.
Hi, Lisa. How are you doing?
Hi, great. How are you?
And I'm going to share my screen.
Perfect.
Can I? Oops.
Yeah, now I can see your screen.
Okay. So, can I start now? All right. Hello, everyone. I am Nobuyoshi Toba, the CEO of Innovation. I'm going to talk about my company and how we can present values for the manufacturing industry. So, first of all, let me introduce myself a little bit. I am Nobuyoshi Toba. I graduated from the university from the United States. After that, I joined my father's company, which was a small manufacturing company. I learned a lot about the manufacturing, but after that, after 10 years in his working in his company, I graduated from my father's company, and with my MBA school friends, I made Innovation, which is a startup for the IoT and AI for manufacturing industries. There is my main booth, which is kind of funny that they have main working for big companies, but they help us little bit by Saturday and Sunday, so that they cannot show their faces due to the much voting. So Innovation is a company that making a difference for manufacturing industry by IoT and AIs. As you know that Japan is famous for manufacturing industry. There are many global manufacturing companies such as Toyota, Honda, and Panasonic. In Japan, however, due to the rapid growth in China and Southeast Asia, the Japan manufacturing is on the brink, I think. Then actually, there are 380,000 manufacturing companies in Japan, but more than 99% of the small companies are small manufacturers. So that our target customers are that kind of 99% of the small manufacturers. So in order to make a big difference for small manufacturers, we are making unique products for small manufacturers, so that we have to make products more cheap and easy to use. So we make more automatical solutions and AI-oriented solutions, and we make more cameras and anything that relate to the AI and IoT, so that if you have any questions or anything, please ask me in the Limo table sessions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nobu. That was a great pitch. And then please come to join the Nobu's table, P Innovations table, after finishing the startup pitch, so we can have a lots of conversation later. Okay, let's move to the next speaker from Yuma. Yuma Fukami. Can you turn on your camera and then the microphone?
Thank you.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
It is all yours. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, thank you very much for this great opportunity today. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Yuma Fukami. I'm an international strategy manager of Yuma. I'm honored to present our company in this great session today. For every text message, for every video you upload or download, there's a data center making this happen. Data centers consume a lot of energy to serve you. By 2030, the power consumption from the data centers will reach 20% of the world total consumption. For decades, a lot of researchers have tried to resist this rapid change, but this hasn't been solved yet. To figure out why, let's take a closer look at what consumes energy the most. 43% of the energy consumption of the data centers comes from cooling system. So we need to cool data centers more efficiently. Facebook recently built a huge data center with hundreds of cooling fans in Sweden. Cooling system is the most crucial element for this problem. In addition to data centers, this problem also exists in other fields such as electric vehicles and base stations. The most effective way to cool data centers is to improve thermal property of components. Component makers of the data centers have been struggling to produce high thermal property components due to the difficulty of the materials research. The material is a comprehensive solution of this problem. After years of research, we finally invented a heat-efficient material, thermonite, which can dissipate twice the heat by being added to component materials like resins, rubbers, and ceramics. Thermonite is the key to improving thermal property of components. So what makes this difference? Our secret sauce is in the structure of thermonite. You can simply understand why thermonite is more heat efficient in this picture. Conventionally, additive materials were spherical and polycrystal, which has no efficient path for heat to dissipate. Unlike conventional materials, thermonite is a fibrous single crystal material, which means there's a certain path for heat to dissipate, and they're quite uniform. This is why thermonite is more heat efficient, safer, and even lighter. Now we are looking for both partner companies and investors in order to expand our business globally. For potential partners, if you're in the device or component industry or interested in cooperating with us, you're more than welcome to talk to us in the networking session. We've sold our samples to over 60 companies so far. For investors, especially who are familiar with material science field or are passionate with environmental issues, please feel free to ask me for further information. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yuma, for your great pitches. Yeah, that is great. That everyone can join his table on the networking space on the second floor after finishing the pitch session. So the next pitch is
business. So let me introduce our business. Now we are facing updating the energy system. This is from older system. It's like coal-fired power plant or nuclear power plant, and send energy and demand from demand at house or the demand place. But now it's changing to the interactive energy system. It's like decentralized energy resources. It's like PV or battery or EV, and we are providing these energy resources to household users. And our main product is Sharedenki. Sharedenki is the PPA model of PV. PPA model is power purchase agreement of energy. And so we can provide PV for free to install, and we serve electricity as affordable charge during daytime, and it's of course it's renewable energy. And after 10 years later, we will provide that PV for free to household users. This is our business model. PV generates powers, and users can consume the PV energy, and we can charge the service fee, and we will use FIT. FIT means feed-in tariff, national government's policy, and we can get revenues. And our contracts are more than 1,000, and our partners companies like home builder or house builder or something is over 250. And our annual target is it's a part of the market, but Japanese market is so large, so huge, 27 million household users, so we can grow more. And the key of this business is how to provide added value to the prosumers. This is prosumer is sharing the users, and now we are trying to provide PV for free. And the second stage is to sell batteries or EVs. And the third is we will provide electricity. And finally, we will try to serve energy system like P2P energy trading or VPP. This is P2P energy trading, but I will show you this system. Yeah, it's using blockchain, but I don't have much time right now. So if someone is interested in the data of this service, so I would love to see in networking time. And this is our shareholders. This energy environment investment is a specialized energy sector, venture capital, and ENEOS is oil major company in Japan. So thank you very much. I hope we can talk or discuss how to grow each other. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kazu. That'd be great if you can join the sharing energy table on the networking space to have a chat more with us about energy. Okay, let's move to the last speaker from Venture Cafe Tokyo community. So we would like to bring Katsuhiro Okumura from abroad. Katsu, would be great if you could turn on your camera and microphone. Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah, would be great if you can share your screen and then start the pitch.
Okay, I will start my presentation. So we are abroad. We provide market information platform. So Immersion, the total more than 75,000 Japanese companies have already expanded their business overseas. So the target customers issues is here. There are three contents. First, the company can't find the information they need to the website or don't know where to get it. The second, the information is out of date. So the previous page, we mentioned the latest information is as of 2017. So this is one of the issues. So information may not be able to update it, the latest information. So the Japanese companies want to obtain the latest information. The third issue is that the budget information. So budget is limited for especially SMEs companies. So they can't ask the global consulting firm to obtain much information. We will solve these three issues. So how we can solve these issues is that we will obtain the source of information from overseas government, international organizations, and private industry organizations and media. And then what kind of information we will obtain is that basic statistical information for each country and regulatory information and investment environment. Third, consumption, living, and business cost information and market information for specific sectors. So this is our business model. We will obtain the overseas business information from overseas government and bank and think tank companies. And we will provide this information by translating from English to Japanese or from local languages to Japanese. So initial target companies or areas is here. So first, we focus on Southeast Asian region countries, Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, Philippines, and Malaysia. Of course, second phase, we will expand Europe, including Poland. So this is our beta website. We will create this kind of information platform to provide our market information to our consumers. Okay, thank you. So if you are interested in our business, so please let me know and talk with you later. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Katsu. I think this is a great product for all of you now. If you're interested in getting more information about the other project, so it would be great if you can join Katsu's table at the networking space. So let's move into the startup pitch.
Yeah, thank you so much for all the presentations. I shared also the link in the chat how you can come back to networking for all of you who are watching us on Facebook and different social media channels. I highly encourage you to join because then you have more interaction. You can ask some questions. I would like to invite to the stage Karol Gurnowicz from Screwware. Karol, can you switch on your camera and mic?
Okay.
Stage is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Karol. I'm CEO of Screwware, and today I would like to show you something which you definitely have not seen before, and that is my company that has been creating the one and only ecosystem to connect external consumer 3D printers with robotic designs and education scenarios to, well, really change the face of education in the 21st century. So in Screeware, we closely follow like these huge mega trends, as we call it. It's about, especially that post-COVID are pretty remarkable. It's the local manufacturing, and one of the technologies, 3D printing, personalized home-based education with AR, and curated content passion economy developing, which is, well, around gaming a lot. So, well, we know we do terrible job really educating children these days. We're really good, we're really bad at it. And because children lack engaging, passionate resources, linking these interdisciplinary skills. And on one hand, on the second hand, teachers are really the most important aspect of in terms of learning outcomes and the efficiency of the teaching process. So we try to combine fun and engaging, fully creative environment with full support for teachers. And where we are at now is that we created this laboratory, STEAM Education Laboratory, which combines online education, robotics, and 3D printing. We provide the full solution: 3D printers, robots, online education resources, 3D models, and all support for the teachers so that they can use it and also develop their professional skills while using it. So they get better, they get methodological support. And for us, really, the most important part in the heart of it is the academy, is this educational platform where we give all scenarios for the teachers, e-courses, making sure that they learn how to use our tools right here, but also how to use methodology to really engage in a remote teaching environment or in classroom. So we're working with 16 distributors across the globe. During COVID, we signed three new ones, and now we are working on integration with Teams. We're official co-selling partner of Microsoft. We're also going to bundle our hardware, our robots and printers with mobile devices, with such as Samsung. And we are looking forward to an exciting future because we know we have some solid advantages now. The education is really changing really fast, and there are clear areas that we like to link together and become like a standard operating system for some 3D printers out there, and to really make education for home and school meaningful. So this is my contact address, carol@screeware.com. I'll be happy to meet with you guys later on. Thank you very much. I stopped sharing my screen. There you go.
Yes, thanks a lot, Karol. And I would like to invite Arnold Belki. Great.
Joining right away. Okay, I'll jump right away to the presentation. Give me just 1 sec. Whoa. So hello, I hope you can see the screen, but not losing more time. Thanks for joining our CIC bridging meeting with between Warsaw and Tokyo. I would like to humbly represent C-Things. We are providing intelligent solutions for IoT, 5G, and edge computing. We have, as a team, more than 30 years combined experience in that domain. We've been working for many international companies, building, architecting, designing, and deploying, selling IoT solutions. We have set up cthings.co just 3 years ago. And what we are observing is the demand on the industrial segment for digitizing physical assets, performing this condition-based monitoring of assets, delivering real-time computing, real-time actuation for all those industries that, especially now in COVID times, require remote assistance, remote operations. All is about decreasing the cost of operation and also increasing the productivity in those domains to continue your business, even though all your employees are on the quarantine, when you have limitations in transportation and stuff like this. So crazy times, crazy measures. And what we are doing, we are using 5G for that. But we are not using only the hardware that is able to connect to all the assets and IoT sensors networks, but we also provide a global connectivity with our partners, cloud platform resources also with partners, and then we are tweaking, customizing our cloud applications to meet various demands. So you can say that we are things. We are a technology enabler for B2B partners. We are searching for B2B customers all over the globe. Our hardware is pretty unique. We are creating this micro 5G edge computing servers, plus adding the connectivity as mentioned before, and customizing cloud platform for the customers. Let me share with you a few success stories. Success story number one with our lightweight option of the connectivity model. We are delivering in Nordics together with Nordic infrastructure design, composite-based manhole covers that are monitoring sewage systems in Denmark and Sweden at the moment. We are happy to expand this business together with NID in more places. If you see relevance for sustainable city and smart urban development in your area, feel free to reach out. Spin Robotics, another European partner of ours that is building cobots, is using our platform for a digital twin of their cobots and also to create cross-connected hives at the edge for the computing of the workloads of the AI algorithms that are operating over the cobots. A lot of buzzwords in one speech, but that's the technology we are doing. Now, another success story with a company, global company that is producing a lot of steel products, lampposts and stuff. We are helping them on their campus networks localize assets thanks to the beacons that are creating a local mesh tissue to localize assets, and then the computing happens at the edge, plus the application is reachable from remote. That's in short our technology and the references that I could share. Please reach out to us. We are happy to guide you. We are happy to consult your project. We are happy to support scalable use cases around industrial technology and 5G. Thank you very, very much. Returning the ball to other participants. Or accepting Q&A as we speak. No need to wait for reaching out to the table.
Yeah, you can share more information at the table. Now I would like to invite Bartosz Roswonski from Immersion. Great, stage is yours.
Cool. So thank you for the invitation. So I'm the Vice President of Immersion, and I'll give you a brief story, a brief history of Immersion. So we established the company 6 years ago, and we started to work on VR, especially in the area of real estate. We got the business angel financing, and we concentrated on developing visualizations for real estate developers. But with the whole development of the hardware and VR development, we've started to work for a whole new range of clients from different industries. We started to work with healthcare, entertainment, sports, training. So we served as an agency, and we have implemented solutions based on generally gaming technologies for huge companies like Bayer, HBO, Coca-Cola, McDonald's. And since 2017, the US market became our main market of operations. And I would say that the majority of our income comes from the US market. We have partnered with the biggest VR hardware producers, with HTC Vive and Oculus. We are the developer of choice for the HTC Vive, which helped us in getting to the US market. We've developed projects for museums, like Museum in Washington. This was our first project in the US. And then we worked with the really well-known Museum of Natural History in New York. We've developed a project with them, which is a permanent installation in the Museum of Natural History, which is now closed due to COVID. But there is a multiplayer experience where people can assemble T-Rex from bones, and it's a really cool way of using VR. Last year, we developed an app for NASA and Smithsonian Institute to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. The app was a huge success, and right now, this app, it's an augmented reality app where you can get a lot of information about the moon landing. And the app is right now being showcased in every Apple store in the world. And it was nominated for many awards. Among them, there was an Emmy Award nomination and the nomination for the South by Southwest, Webby Awards, and more. We have also a close relationship with Icon Health and Fitness, which is the biggest fitness home hardware producer. We are partnered with them and with Amazon, and we deliver solutions for fitness using gaming engines and using the newest technologies such as VR, AR, but also cloud solutions and normal games. And I would say that right now Immersion is transforming into a venture building company. We've established a first venture which is concentrated only on games, because throughout the years we've also developed a few games for VR headsets. And right now the company got the financing, and it plans to release first games in March 2021. And we've managed to get to the official Oculus store, Oculus Quest store, which is a pretty big thing. And in our plans for the future, we want to spin off different entities that are concentrated on the industries that we work with our clients. So it's the real estate, fitness, and training. So we think that thanks to our clients and partners, we got enough experience in those areas to become successful. And I would mention also our only connection to Japan right now is that we are working with Toyota in delivering augmented reality solutions for them. So we have something in common with Japan, but it's just it's a new thing. Yeah. So feel free to join me in the networking session if you have any questions.
A lot, Bartek. Now it's turn for Jacek Ratajczak. Please join us to the stage. Bartek Ziółko, can you join us? Great. Stage is yours.
Thank you. One moment. Okay. So I represent Tecmo Voice Technologies companies. We provide speech technologies mostly, sometimes language technologies. Our main product is speech recognition system, but we do also speech synthesis and speech analysis. At the moment, our customers are mostly various type of voice bot companies in Poland, but we're working both on moving to other sectors like analytics, like IoT, like business intelligence, and to other languages as well. So we are a company of 35 people. We already processed around 17 million of phone calls, and we work mostly on together with our business partners. There are 14 of them. Here are some of our users. If you'd like to speak about them, I'm happy to do that later at the table. These are our partners. And here are some other partners like academic partners and so on. One of our goals is to start production of speech recognition and speech synthesis system for Japanese language. If everything goes well with my visa, I'm moving for some time to Sapporo this month. So I will land in Tokyo, and after a quarantine around 10th of December, if you'd like to meet with me in person, I'm happy to do that. I'll be then in Tokyo, hopefully. And we search for customers and partners who would like to build with various voice technologies products for the Japanese market. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jacek. Juliusz, can you join us on the stage?
Okay, yes, hello. Thank you very much for the invitation. Let me share a screen. Okay, so good morning. My name is Juliusz Sami, and on this webinar, I will be representing Cosmos. So Cosmos is a Polish startup that helps brands to understand, predict, and influence how over 1 billion people shop offline. Now we operate in China, Malaysia, United Arab Emirates, Singapore, and from now we are looking for new opportunities in Japan. The problem we are trying to solve is that offline stores don't have so much information about their customers. On the second hand, we have brands that operate in e-commerce and they know everything about their clients. And this is where Cosmos steps in. Cosmos gives a great opportunity to receive information about your customers and allows you to retarget users based on their location history, and also analyze and understand your customers' offline behavior. So let's talk about our technology. It's seamless, highly accurate, and we can operate everywhere. Cosmos don't need any installation or hardware to locate over 1 billion clients in 360,000 stores with 1.6 meter positioning accuracy, which is just like 2 steps, so you can locate a customer even in the store's counter level. And how do we compare with other technologies? We have very high scale, and even the accuracy is high compared to a GPS as well. And there is no installation needed or store permission needed, so the cost of sustaining of the technology is relatively low, which makes Cosmos as a great solution to use on the markets. We work with the most innovative brands in the world. In Japan, we have a partnership with Rakuten, And we are delivering results to companies like Marriott, Bottega Veneta, LVMH, and Pernod Ricard. So what's our clients saying about us? L'Oreal benchmarked our technology with Tencent, and Cosmos delivered 135% higher offline conversion and 43% lower cost per offline purchase. In Japan, we were also cooperating with the Moet Party event, and they increased the number of sold tickets over 6 times. So what's important to remember about Cosmos is that we offer technology with very high accuracy and a big scale, which was audited by PwC. We also deliver results to top 8 luxury groups, and we also deliver higher offline conversion than Tencent. So thank you very much for your time and attention. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us or join a virtual table, which I will be hosting, to explain details about Cosmos.
Thanks a lot, Julius. Now I would like to invite to the stage Bartłomiej Wielogórski. And after those sessions, we will have fireside chat with Startup Guy. So if you are interested in hearing more about startup ecosystem in Japan and in Warsaw, stay here. If you would like to talk with some startups at the tables and with other participants, join networking sessions. Bartek, stage is yours.
Okay, so good morning. Let me introduce myself, my company, and my product. My name is Bartosz Roswonski. I come from Prodromus company. On your screen, you see our product called ProdRobot. It is the device dedicated for disabled children. We are for 5 years on the market. We sold our robot to 10 countries in Asia and in Europe. This is in dozen rehabilitation centers. Thousands of our final users use our devices. Now we are looking for investor, and that's why I'm open for discussion about investment in our company. Because we plan to launch a new version of our product. This one, which you observe, is dedicated only for children. Now we are working and nearly finishing with a very similar device dedicated to old people, to adults, and of course people suffered with many diseases. So we are not only concentrate in this round on development, but also we would like to make our sailing network bigger and bigger. So first of all, we plan to go to the United States and free the biggest, the most important Asian countries like China, Japan, and Korea. So in fact, now we have the partner in China, and we sold a few pieces there. And now we are looking for partners in all those countries I mentioned. So I guess that's all from my side. Please meet me in the meeting area or contact me later using online services. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Bartek. And last but not least, Przemek Budnicki. Przemek, I will invite you to the stage right now. Yeah, Przemek is representing 2 brands. Great, stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Just a second, I will put on the screen and the application. So yes, I'm a CEO, in fact, of Holo4 Labs, and I hope you can see the screen. Or yeah, can you see the screen? Eva, please could you tell me? I hope it's so.
Yeah.
So all of our labs, it's like what we do is for every companies, even if they are quite conservative, from time to time they need somehow of a revolution. And in today's day, our customers, who are the laboratories and every possible laboratory, from cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, chemical laboratories, etc. They at the moment they have the same needs as probably most of the customers. So they need to work more safer, more effective, and more agile, especially while changing the way of the behaviors and the procedures that they execute in the COVID times. So they need to do all of this with more and more remoteness. So the needs probably they are quite similar to what every company does. And what we bring to our customers, it's like no matter from how big these companies are, they have the similar problems, and we hit the problems of the customers in everyday's job of the laboratory scientist. So what we do for the customers is like we help them. Maybe one more thing, because it's maybe also the most important stuff, is that we do it using the mixed reality. So we use Microsoft HoloLens augmented reality glasses, our application, and integration to the laboratory information management systems underneath. So what we do is we show and screen to the laboratory employers task lists. We can help them to make and execute the procedures, even if they didn't make this procedure ever before. We help them to manage the devices to avoid the mistakes. We can help them to calibrate instruments. We help search samples, and of course we scan samples to start all this the processes that usually the laboratory employees do. And what is right now probably the top of the top is we work them to co-work to audit the procedures within the laboratories without going to the physical site. So all these elements make the solution, the Holo4 Labs, our solution, very attractive to every kind of laboratories. So the market is huge. The market that we target is huge because it's worth more than $1,100 billion. And even with only the 80,000 of accredited laboratories, we sell the implementation package of Holo4 Labs, and then we grow. So probably maybe I just script that. We talk to the biggest companies and the biggest laboratories in the world right now. However, we are targeted for every laboratory that wants to go digital. It's probably more than 80% of them. So we talk to many big customers, and what we can say that it's a huge interest in going more digital. So Holo4 Labs, it's more finished product than the startup. We have built-in sales, and we are more like the corporate because, as Eva mentioned at the beginning, we are a part of the Tenderhat Group, which is one of the biggest software houses in this part of Europe. So if you want to know more about Holo4 Labs, please join me. Yeah, I'm sure that
Thank
that was
you so
quite
much.
fast.
And I would like to
Thank you very
all of
much,
you
Demo, once again. And as probably as Albert said, we can do a question here, unless Eva will join us.
Yeah, thank you for all the presentations. And now we are going to start fireside chat with Startup Guide here. So if you want to stay here and listen about startup ecosystem in Warsaw, in Japan, you can stay here. If you would like to enjoy networking, join the networking room. I will share the link in the chat one more time. It will be easier to navigate for you. Thanks a lot, and I would like to invite Anna from Startup Guide and Ahmad, who will moderate this wonderful fireside chat. So, Ahmad, stage is yours.
Thank you, Eva. So, hi everyone. I'm really excited to have this chat with Anna. And Anna, I think your microphone is on mute. So I just wanted to, yes, very good.
While you were speaking,
hi.
Everyone, thank you for having us here. Daphne, my colleague, is also on board, just saying.
Perfect. First, I wanted to say that even though I'm in Warsaw, I'm basically at the Haneda, conference room in Warsaw. So let's just say virtually, I'm still in, in Japan to some extent. Anna, if you don't mind, just to spice it up a little bit, because we're talking about the Corona pandemic. Can you tell me, like, where you come from?
Where I'm originally from?
Yes.
I'm from Austria, from the south of Austria.
And where are you based in right now?
I'm based in Portugal. We are in Lisbon.
And where the company is located?
The company is located in Lisbon and in Copenhagen.
Copenhagen. That's what I was trying to say when I was trying to talk about our fireside chat. So I was just trying to say that I'm trying to talk to an Austrian lady that is based in Portugal, that is a company that is based in Denmark, in a conference that is based in Warsaw and Tokyo. So let's just say we are definitely going to show that this is a very international conversation. So after that, I made it a bit more confusing. Can you just introduce yourself and say exactly what you're doing with the Startup Guide?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thank you very much for having us here, and good morning, good evening to everyone. I'm really happy to be part of the Venture Cafe Fireside Chat, especially because we were at an event last week at Venture Cafe to launch the Startup Guide Japan, which was a really, really great project. My name is Anna Weisensteiner. As Anna just said, I'm originally from Austria. I'm the COO of Startup Guide, and I'm at the moment mainly taking care of our partnerships and basically doing the groundwork to start off our projects. And my main focus over the last year was to bring Startup Guide to the Asian markets and to the African markets, because Startup Guide is a European-based company. So we started off in Berlin with the first book, have our headquarters in Copenhagen and in Lisbon. And when we started 4 years ago, of course, our focus was to cover European cities from London to Paris, Vienna, Lisbon, Copenhagen, Stockholm. And my focus was then to really get the books and get the projects to cover also African cities such as Singapore, Bangkok, then Tokyo, Japan. And we also have launched or are launching right now the first impact series in Africa. That means books that have a very strong focus on impact startups and impact businesses. And this consists of 4 cities: Accra, Lagos, Kigali, and Nairobi.
Wow, that's really impressive. How many cities in total, if I can ask?
We have now over 50 ecosystems. And last year we started to also add a different format to our book series. So previously we have done city guide format, so basically really focusing on very local ecosystems, one book, one city. But since there is so many cities out there that are, let's call them second-tier cities, meaning not as famous as a Tokyo or a Berlin or a New York, but rather a little bit smaller cities that maybe are not yet big enough to have their own book, but definitely are worth, to being put on an international map of startup ecosystems. This is why we started with country editions that cover up to 5 and 6 cities in one book, to really open the doors a little bit to the smaller cities and not so well-known ecosystems as well.
And who are exactly the target audience for the Startup Guide?
So the main mission of Startup Guide is definitely to help people, to empower people and inspire people to start their business anywhere. So the target group, for the readership is definitely people that are interested to starting off their business in a new city. But also over the course of the last year, we have been discovering that there's a lot of interest is also coming from investors that want to see, okay, how does the ecosystem look like? Because obviously each startup ecosystem has their own vibe, has their own complete setup and spirit, and that is also very, very interesting for people if they want to tap in, whether it's for financing reasons or for even job opportunities. So I would say the big target groups are startups and founders, then definitely people that are looking for job opportunities within the entrepreneurial and startup space, and investors.
I mean, I'm sure that this very, let's just say, minimum time of like few minutes is not going to be big enough. But if you really want to, as a person who knows the startup ecosystem well, and I would say even more important that you're documenting it. So what are the biggest, let's just say, indicators in your opinion in the startup ecosystem, first in Japan and then in Poland, in your opinion?
What you mean with indicators?
Like what exactly, like if somebody wants to say that, like, how is the startup Japan in Tokyo? Like what is the most important point, or how do you describe it, you know? Because we definitely don't have time to describe the whole ecosystem, but at least I just wanted to see if we can try to say something very small about both ecosystems.
Definitely. So that is also one very beautiful thing about the work we are doing. And also it's the beauty and also one of the biggest challenges, which is we have to be and stay flexible while also maintain or not lose who we are as a company. That means every community is very different. Every community thinks very differently. So think about the different cultures, as said, in Warsaw and in Tokyo, or in Barcelona and in Tokyo, or in LA and in Singapore. And sometimes communities are also a little bit skeptical when we first enter and say, okay, we're going to do a startup guide. So we have to make clear that we're not going to impose on them, but rather try to involve their ecosystem, to involve their community to co-create the book with us. And that is definitely, I think, a big difference. I mean, there's a lot of differences and a lot of indicators, as you call them. But I would say that the cultural aspect and the cultural differences are playing a main role in how we do the book and how we have to approach each project a little bit from a different side. So for us, we really try to be a little bit the neutral middleman, and to basically lay the base to co-create with the community a successful project.
And you know, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that would be the pandemic. Yeah. So how do you really see the effect of the pandemic on the ecosystems?
Yeah, so there is definitely, I would say, from our experience now and from the stories we heard, from the feedback we got from people we work with, there's definitely various impacts. Starting off with the need to pivot for many startups that had to meet needs that were born out of the pandemic, basically. Then, of course, the downside that many startups, I think it's over 65–70% of startups that really had to lay off full-time employees. They lost financing, they lost basically their markets. But on the other side, also there was an increase in entrepreneurial, there was an increase in entrepreneurial activity, because many organizations, many startups, many individuals try to respond to the emergency and try to find new opportunities and new solutions. So there was an increase in creativity overall. And what we can also say from the financing perspective, we have some ecosystems, some cities that reported back that the governmental support increased, whereas other cities, maybe the governmental support, like decreased. And especially in African cities, we are working with some partners now that said, especially during the pandemic, they get way more support from the state, from government, because now they see, okay, entrepreneurship is really needed. Whereas in some of those cities previously, it was like entrepreneurship was basically the emerging bubble. Yeah, I think there is a lot of different things that are happening and still will be happening, and that is also why we are planning on a project. Since we publish content and we share stories, we are planning on publishing some of the most inspiring stories that came out of the pandemic, basically startups or organizations that were forced to pivot and did it successfully. And for that, I would also like to give the word very briefly to my colleague Daphne, who is working on that at the moment and in very close contact with our communities, that has some examples already about which startups really pivoted successfully or are in the midst of pivoting.
Very good, definitely. Do you want to, first of all, hi?
Hi.
Because, yeah, we were just trying to have you also here. Do you want to also maybe have some comments on the state of startup ecosystems and your activities with them?
Yeah, definitely. So as Anna already mentioned, we are now working on that new project, which is mainly focused on startups and organizations that need to pivot because of COVID, but more so we also want to look for those that actually want to change in a systemic way. So we're looking for stories beyond COVID even, but that's for the next stage. I think it might be interesting if I just share one of the stories that we've already heard as an example of how you can pivot. So this started. This is an organization from Hamburg, a startup called Recycle Heroes. They were a company that would use bicycles and pick up the trash, the paper, and the glass from restaurants, and then recycle it in their own ways. And they used people with social backgrounds to support them in doing this. So they were like a double social organization in that sense. But because of COVID, all the restaurants had to close, of course. And they were almost out of work because 70% of their workload just vanished like that. So they decided to use their bikes for something else. And they wanted to support all the people that also worked with them. And they found a new group of people that they could actually support by giving them soup. So they started a new company called Street Soup. And with their bikes, they would go around and deliver soup for people that are in need of food. And I think that's a really good example of how you can be creative with the resources that you already have. So they already had their bikes, they already had the people to deliver, and they already had the contacts at the restaurant to support them with the food supplies. So that's a great way of using your network, your current network, for a new business. And I think that is exactly what pivoting is.
That was a very inspiring story. A few days ago, I was having a conference call, and I had
and then CIC Tokyo, who designed the architecture of both office spaces, which there's lots of wonderful cultures behind the architecture. Yeah, thank you, Tarkan and Jackie from Kobori Architecture, who designed the CIC Tokyo, and then also Harrison from CIC. She designed the CIC Warsaw. So both of CIC have been open this year. So we would like to go through the virtual tour for this wonderful facility. So Malta, and then Harrison, Brittany, can you start your virtual tour, and then
Yeah.
let us know. Yeah, Coach was behind.
Sure. I'm not sure if it was on here. She was gonna give the virtual tour of this.
Malta is going to give a virtual. So she's now at CIC. Video was, so I can put you as a
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for having me here today. My name is Brittany Harrison, and I was the design lead for Warsaw. So worked with a local architecture firm called Workplace to help make this project become a reality. It was a super fun project to work on, and I worked on it for about 2 years. So we were really excited when it opened at the beginning of the summer, despite all the challenges with the pandemic that we faced. So to sort of give you a little bit of a background, the goal for the design team here at CIC is to really create a community for people that is inviting and invokes good workmanship and innovation. So for me, from the design side, it starts with the architecture of the space. How can we create a space that's not only beautiful but is also functional? And there's a lot of things that we do to achieve this. So some of them are obvious and some of them are not so obvious. And I'll try to hit on some of those things as we tour the space. So as you're seeing here, this space is called the Eagle's Nest, and it sort of serves as the circulation hub, giving direction to the various different programming here that we offer at CIC. So it's sort of like the Times Square in New York for us. It's the first impression of our campus. So the intent was to create a very inviting and welcoming experience with bold colors and soft textures that really draw you into the space. So now we're coming down one of the eagle wings, I guess, that lead you to District Hall, where you'll see similar color patterns in this space, and that's to help cue the visitors that this is an extension of the public space and they're welcome here. This was urban landscape, and you'll see the theme subtly picked up in a variety of different ways throughout the space. And the reason that we chose this theme initially was because CIC is sort of in its own way like a city. We're drawing in all different types of people with different purposes, and they cross paths in different ways to sort of really create a community. So we thought this theme was fitting. So some examples you'll see throughout the space of the theme, like the conference rooms here. There's the station, and there's university and different needs of theme, but to keep it very subtle. So you may not even know when you're in this space that it's themed urban landscape, but once you do, you start to pick up on the cues of the space and see different examples. So yeah, here's university, like I was talking about, and we've got different halls. This is our event space that can be broken down into one large space or 3 smaller spaces. And if you head back towards the main sort of district, are sort of helping to build this theme of urban landscape. So things like the grass-like color of the carpet, the exterior-like finishes such as brick and concrete. This material here was supposed to look like it was copper. Even things down to like the coat racks were specifically chosen because they look like trees. So there was like a lot of very subtle intents here to help really create this theme of urban landscape. There you see the studio room. In addition, you'll see these small meeting nooks here have building-like shapes to them to help build this theme. So now we'll take a walk into Trend House. So Trend House 4, and it was a very fun one to work on. The idea here was people can work and attend events in a more exclusive setting. So we put an emphasis on high-end finishes, high-end furniture, darker colors, more ambient light to really create a high-end atmosphere here. So as you go through this space, you'll notice some more well-known pieces of furniture, like there's Charles Eames and Fritz Hansen. There's also a variety of more specialty finishes like marble and leather, because we really wanted the user of this space to see and also feel the quality here. This turned out to be a pretty unique space. So now we're going to head towards the concierge space. So another thing you'll notice is that everything down to even the lights that you can see right now are planned strategically to help sort of guide you on your path. So there's a variety of starlight, linear organized lights to help guide your path to wherever you're going. We wanted to try and stray away from having a lot of huge arrows and signage and try to use the materiality to help guide you to where you're going. So this is the CIC concierge space, and you can also get here from taking one of the bridges from the Eagle's Nest as well. So it's very centrally located and it's easy to find from that central hub space. And again, here you'll see the urban landscape making its way into the materials of this space. So we chose corrugated steel, brick, concrete, also the greenery. So all of those things are trying to pick up the elements of the urban feel and bring them into this space. So now we're entering the private CIC space, and here you'll notice there's a lot of similar qualities to District Hall space. However, we did make a lot of different design choices here to take into account that now you're in a private workspace and we need to cater to all different
have more tables, less tables. People could create a small group, have a small meeting, and this was the idea that we were having to make the connection between people even easier using the furniture to do that. And also we have the curves that we designed trying to make the user to feel more comfortable or fitting to the table. And the space here we also have design-wise curtains that we use also to help with the sound absorbing, but also to try to bring a little bit of the Japanese concept that they use a lot of, and all of these ambience, this feeling that it creates of calmness inside the space was what we were looking for with this. And moving on.
It's an amazing space.
Our clients, guys.
It's amazing. We love it.
Thank you. And here we are going to go back to the public space here. In the conference room, we are going to have a couple of them here. For the name of the conference, we selected a concept of using some Japanese color names, and we use those to add the name of the conference on the doors. It's really easy for the Japanese people to understand, to make the connection with some color just by the name. For us foreigners, it will be difficult, but for them, it's really easy. So this was also somehow a way that we found to make them localize themselves inside the project easily. And going back here, we have the entrance of the project. And like Brittany said, we also try to see the project as a city. That's also one of the concepts that we use on this floor, which is the Roji concept. So Roji is the like what they call a small street where you have many things going on. Not just like you can find small restaurants, or it's not just a straight street, it's very like a Japanese alley. So that was a concept that we also use on this floor. And here we have the venture success space, the bar, and here we also try to create this kind of feeling that is a little bit fun, playing with the lights and mixturing with the woods, trying again to feeling to the project, and also playing with the shapes and trying to run away from the straightness of the shape. And also the Bruno, which has connections to this playing of shapes. It's also a concept that we use in this project, and you will find those shapes like concept in many areas of the project, in the ceiling space, in the game room here, on the wall, which is also here. I accidentally myself here before. And then here is easily to understand what I meant with the Japanese Roji alley concept. As you can see, different from the second floor, that's a little bit more like this. The Roji corner concept for the corridors, if you look straight, like here, you will see that you have this corridor that becomes not only a space for you to walk, but then we also place some standing tables or sitting tables like the also it's a small areas where we call the Roji corners, where we create areas where you can sit or have a meeting. We even put some whiteboards on, and you can just have a small meeting here, or you can close tiny space, have a little or if you are having like a smaller meeting with someone here, you can just come and sit and enjoy the space. And each Roji corner has a different kind of furniture. In this case, we have the sofas that are movable, and then we come here and we can see table where you have this, and we also try to play a little bit with the different types of finishes. For here, we have a difference on the pattern of the floor, and even the fabric is a little bit more hairy than the other ones on the corridor. And if we continue, if you look straight, see that breaking up, and we just try to straight. We went on the other floor. Office, where we even use the same donut that concept here. As you can see, in this case, kind of helps with the corona situation we're facing, as we have many tables that are facing just a couple of ones where we have people that each other, but also these can all be rearranged to another layout, which was the main goal with this donut concept that we have here. Then going back, we are going to head to the second floor now. And here again, we can go back and you can see the other and sit and have like your tiny corner and just work here alone if you want to get out of your office for a while. And also we had tiny signage on the floor to just to go a little bit different, and then people just can easily their way. And we are going to enter now the event space, what we call Jika. They changed the name. Niji. There is someone here. So here we have two options. We can either use this space only with chairs, or we can also use this table. And we wanted to make the connection also for the people who are sitting on the outside. So we introduced this big long window here. So even the people who are sitting on the venture cafe side, they can see what's going on here. And there is even a seating space here where you can just sit here and just watch what's going on inside that area. And then we come back again to the where we have, I know it's a little bit different from what we see on the CAC on the Western countries. There is a lot of color, and here you just usually more like wood and a little bit more calmer space, but we were just actually trying to bring the Japanese feeling. And then going on, this there is what we thought is the most important item in the project, and without it, it would be impossible to make the direct connection between the floors. And then we can also use this seating space. As you can see, we have some design cushions that people can just use and sit and move to whatever they want to sit, and they can just watch. And then we go up and we reach the 16th floor kitchen. And here the design is going to change a little bit. You're gonna see more green, and then you're gonna see that the corridors are more straight and the finishes are different. While the 15th floor has a corridor that is covered with carpet, here we use PVC, and then it's a whole different concept, and also the uses are different, with the idea of bringing the people from the 15th floor to the 16th so they can interact with more people. We divided the users in a way that people should be walking over here and there and to make this connection. So here we go straight, and then even the furniture here is a little bit different for this floor. We did not use the donut desk concept, as people also might not be used to that, so they can have the choice of what they prefer to use. So here is one 16th floor office, and the regular food that COC usually uses, and then they can choose it if they prefer. The view is very beautiful from this office. And then on the 16th floor, we have many of the public games. We're going to head now to the wellness area, and we're going to pass through the data hotel, and also the exercising room that CAC created. And then the data hotel, which I had commented that it's too small, but I just want to point that for Japan, this is more than enough. And then going again here, we will reach the living room. And you can see that even the colors that we use here is different, it's a little bit more colorful. And yet, of course, not so much. Then here we go to the living room. And again, for the faces, we always try to change the finish and also create a nice space for people to just be like here. It's not, I think it's really nice what CAC is bringing to Japan. It's not very common for offices to have spaces like these, spaces for people to rest. So I think this is really important what they are doing. And here again, we are going to go to the wellness area. And here, again, we try to bring a little bit of the Japanese, and it's very popular in Japan, or a tradition to just bring that to the project. So to access the wellness area, we request or we prefer that people feel this experience of changing the shoes and just walking barefoot here. And then it's the neck room space that also is something that I don't think is very common in Japan. So also interesting for CAC to bring these spaces and practice in the office. And here we have the shower room. One of them, the big one, that is also some plus in this area. And then the massage room. Yes. And we are going to the nursing. Space that is bringing, and I think customers will love it. Hopefully, it will be a thing in Japan soon. And then we are going to walk over the other side of this floor. While we walk through. So on the second floor, we have the big data, the big framery for people. And as you can see again, we go very much straight on the floor. And also we made that wall seamless and trying to always make it open or make it transparency and bring the transparency into the project. And here is our last stop. And I'm not sure. Can I show?
Yeah.
I believe that CAC has shown secret space in this hour. So it's like a hidden room that people sometimes don't know, and there should be something for them to show to their clients and have a little bit of fun with it. And this is it from us. Thank you.
All right. Hey, Lisa, how do we do?
Thank you very much. That was great. I really can see the really different concept, but it's really good that there is a really Japanese culture behind the CIC architecture. For example, the Logikona, which is a really traditional like Japanese corner to like people meet each other and then have a chat there. So probably the new collaboration happens from there. But yeah, that was amazing. Thank you
guys
so much. And then Brittany or Jackie, do you have any comments for each other's architecture?
Oh, I love the fashion design. The first time I saw it, I think I've seen 3 or 4 pictures maybe, but never the entire space. It's really big.
Yeah, huge.
How many meters does the